The scene starts with Sam, who has a PhD in psychology, at the front of a building. She is a relationship coaching blogger with a large following on social media. She smiles and relishes the opportunity she's about to explore, walking into the building. She runs across the hall to the elevator door only to find it closed. 3 seconds later, to her relief, the elevator opens. Josh, a producer, is in the elevator. Sam goes in. She's listening to a radio show on her AirPod, her hat masking it. She blurts out little frustrations and Josh constantly peeps at her. Seeing she might have made Josh think she's talking to herself, she reveals she has an AirPod on. They exchange a smile. Sam, with a mild grin, reveals she is listening to a mindless podcast. She explains that the show is about random people recreating their worst haircut day. Josh mentions the name of the show, Giggle and Groan. Sam tells him she forces herself to enjoy the show simply because she's pitching a show to the same production company. Sam reckons Josh is indulging and thinks Josh can help her understand the show better. The elevator door opens with both Sam and Josh stepping out of it. Josh walks a different direction and waves Sam a goodbye. Sam meets the lady at the front desk who is on a call. The lady tells her to hold. Marie, the boss, walks into the waiting area and meets Sam, asking Sam to follow her to her office. On the way, Marie points to another office and mentions it belongs to Josh. With Josh waiting in Marie's office, Marie introduces Josh to Sam. Sam is surprised but shakes hands with Josh. They give off the notion they've met previously. Josh makes Marie understand they've known only briefly and in an amusing encounter. Sam further states it was just a few moments back in the elevator. Marie tells Sam that Josh is one of the company's rising star producers. Marie further states how Josh is the mastermind of one of the company's biggest hits, the Giggle and Groan. Josh tries to show some humility. Sam is astonished and a little bit embarrassed but reveals her pleasure about Josh's performances. Marie asks Sam if she has heard of the Giggle and Groan show. She stutters to affirm. Josh reveals he caught Sam doing her homework and listening to the show back in the elevator. Josh sarcastically states he interrupted Sam before she could get a solid opinion about the show. Sam concurs as if forced. Marie reckons that this is Josh's job, connecting the show to listeners. Marie reveals Sam has a large following on social media. She also reveals this feat intrigued her the moment she received Sam's podcast proposal. Sam tries to express her gratitude. Marie, eager to hear Sam's proposal, asks her to go ahead and make her pitch. While in her seated position, she gives a confident smile and starts giving her pitch. Marie and Josh find it hard to connect to what Sam is getting at. Sam, wanting to do better, stands up and walks to a white marker board behind. She decides to give Marie and Josh a visual representation of what she is talking about. Marie and Josh still can't connect. Sam argues the visual representation isn't too good because her drawing skills are bad. Sam's pitch centers on romance and couples. Josh argues the company doesn't usually do romance shows. Marie opposes and says the company has a reputation for epic shows. Sam assures the show will be great. Marie is interested and asks Sam why she's bent on the podcast. Sam reveals her mom found it hard to create a real connection with someone else after her dad passed away. Feeling the mother's pain, she gave herself to learning and training. She expresses that the idea of a podcast will avail her the prospect of helping couples in their journey of love. She feels after years of learning and exploring, a podcast is the natural next step for her. Marie is impressed. She obliges and states they'll give her a trial. She asks Sam to work with Josh to piece together some interesting episodes for the trial. Sam isn't comfortable with the idea, but Marie feels good about it. Sam meets up with her boyfriend, Brett, outside the building. Brett is excited for her. Sam is very excited too. She expresses her displeasure with Marie for giving her 2 weeks to work with Josh, whom she refers to as a total clown. She says this without knowing Josh is right behind her. Josh, who brings a sheet of paper he believes to be Sam's, overhears Sam calling him a total clown. He is not moved and proceeds to hand over the sheet. Sam shrugs the awkwardness off and introduces Brett to Josh. Josh is willing to make a point. He decides he wants to play a little game. He folds his 2 hands, stretches it towards Brett and asks him to pick one. Brett flusters but picks one. Josh reveals it's empty but also opens the other palm and reveals it is empty too. He reveals the trick always works in clown class. Sam tries to say something when Josh starts taking steps backwards to leave. He tells her where they should meet to start plans and leaves the scene. Sam feels a bit embarrassed but waves it off. She asks Brett how his interview went and they continue walking. Brett talks about his interview while him and Sam walk in the park. He says he thinks he said the right things and asked the right questions. He also thinks he dressed too formal for the interview. Sam laughs and reckons Brett wore a suit and tie to their first date. They both laugh. Immediately, Brett's phone rings and Brett answers the call. He feigns dismay and shows disappointment. Sam tries encouraging him and asserts him how brilliant he is. Brett cuts in and tells her he got the promotion he interviewed for. He has been promoted to the post of the Dean of Social Science. They are both excited. Sam suggests they can finally take their bike tour they've always talked about next year. Brett playfully tells her they should take one step at a time. He reaches into his suit pocket and brings out a pair of keys he hands to Sam. Sam quickly understands that Brett is asking her to move in with him. Sam is elated and agrees to do so. Brett suggests a date, but Sam feels she's rather enjoying the current moment they're in. Brett begs to miss lunch later in the day as he wishes to prepare himself for his big job. The scene starts with Sam getting prepared to leave the house. She sights her and Brett's perfectly framed picture. She stares and smiles at it for a few seconds, then exits the apartment. Josh is seen in Carlo's cafe. He is complaining to his friend, Carlos, about Marie not trusting him enough. He mentions relationships are way out of his league with regards to making a podcast. He remarks that Sam is a newbie. He further remarks that Sam, as a newbie, has no idea the work he puts in for his own shows. Carlos finishes the statement by stating his shows are unplanned and chaotic. Sam walks in on them. She mentions Josh is early. Josh, still holding a grudge, asks if she is surprised he is early. Carlos says hi to Sam and Josh introduces both of them. Sam reveals she lives a few blocks away from Carlos' cafe. Carlos mentions the exact drink Sam would love to take. To Sam's surprise, Carlos was spot on. Sam and Josh try to piece some ideas together. Sam reads out real-life experiences of couples with trailing, fragile relationships. Josh occupies himself by taking pictures of Sam using a digital camera. He thinks Sam should be a little relaxed. Sam holds that it is hard for her to relax with Josh going around with the camera on her face. Josh thinks he's doing the right thing with the camera and states the need to continue building Sam's online presence. Sam feels like she already has that to pull a large listening audience. Josh argues it doesn't work that way and she still needs the promo to reach a larger audience. She finally agrees. Sam goes on reading her idea to Josh while sipping her coffee. Sam is slightly irritated by Josh's constant gesturing that alludes to sarcasm. She makes her irritation known. Josh reveals she has traces of the coffee softly lingering on her upper lip. She tries to pick up a sheet from the table when she spills the remaining coffee on the table. It spills on the file where her idea is penned down. Josh calls on Carlos to come help clean out the mess. Carlos comes with a towel to clean the mess the spilled coffee has made. While cleaning, he advises Sam to take things easy with Josh. He says Josh is not much of a hard guy. He says this without Josh in earshot because he had stepped away to give Carlos room to clean. Josh gets back to sit with Sam and tries to cheer her up with a few words of encouragement. Josh thinks he should add some fun to the project by using his experience. Sam is offended by that, arguing that the people whose experiences she would be using for the project are relying on her. This means she can't decide to add any form of fun to it. Sam, exasperated, stands up to leave. Josh apologizes and pleads with her to stay back. Josh thinks love isn't as rigid as people think. He thinks love and knowing the right person happens in the heart. He acknowledges Sam as the relationship expert. Sam responds he isn't the fairy tale type, by the way. A mild animosity brews. Sam tells Josh to respect that she's the brain behind this while she respects him as the production expert. She reminds Josh it's her show. Josh obliges and continues his snapshots. Sam and Brett are jogging on a tranquil street surrounded by trees. The sun is just rising. Sam and Brett are catching up on their new jobs. They stop to check how much time they've spent running. Brett says they've gotten a new running record by 3 seconds. Immediately, Brett's phone rings. A professor needs Brett's assistance back at the office. Brett excuses himself to attend to that. Sam and Josh meet up with a matured couple in their farmhouse for an interview as part of their project. Sam and Josh get acquainted with the couple, David and Lucy Tyler. Based on David's body language, Sam feels like David isn't ready and tells him they don't have to go on with the interview. Josh tries to lighten up the mood. Sam does the same too by feeding a horse. Josh perceives David isn't too comfortable with the interview and suggests Sam continues with Lucy while he helps David out somewhere else in the farm. Lucy wonders out loud how they got to this point of losing the connection they once had. Sam encourages her David still loves her. She explains further that David is just probably going through a rough time emotionally. She hopes Sam can get them back to where they once were. David, in a stable, reckons to Josh he doesn't understand why his relationship with Lucy is failing. He mentions they've been married for close to 40 years without fights. Sam and Lucy enter the stable. Josh, who is holding a bucket, turns back to look at them, takes a wrong step, and stumbles. The content of the bucket splashes on him. He smells the stench and Lucy offers to help him clean up, leaving Sam and David in the stable. Sam moves close to David and tells him they have a shot at making their relationship work again. She expresses her pleasure in working to make their relationship re-blossom. The setup for the proper interview is nice. It is done at David and Lucy's backyard. With horses neighing, Lucy and David are seated shoulder to shoulder. Sam and Josh are seated opposite David and Lucy. Lucy strongly believes David takes her for granted lately. She goes on to say she is lonely. This comes as a rude shock to David. He says they are never apart and believes Lucy shouldn't be talking of loneliness as a result. Sam reckons getting busy with life takes one's time and energy, till you leave a lot unattended to. She encourages the couple, pointing out this is an opportunity for them. An opportunity to share what they might have missed about each other's lives. David believes his needs are simple. He believes his contentment relies heavily on Lucy's happiness. Sam makes Lucy share one of her dreams on the spot. Lucy reveals she loves dancing and found it hard to convince David they should go dancing. Sam quickly cuts in and asks if David is willing to go dancing with Lucy. David is astonished as to how dancing would save his marriage. Sam lectures David that it's not all about the dancing. She states that having a new experience with Lucy is what matters most. Josh supports Sam's assertions jokingly. Sam's project is getting interesting. Lucy and David are well dressed for another part of the podcast. They're shooting this part at the Central Park's community dance. This event gives the couple a chance to have a dance together. The park is filled with couples finely dressed and waiting to explore what the park is set to offer. Lucy is worried about her appearance, with Sam telling her how gorgeous she looks. Lucy and David begin dancing. David seems too conscious about it and loses the essence. Lucy counsels David to relax and not get too fixated on the dance itself, but let it flow naturally. David feels he's trying his best, and being at her park is a testament to that. Sam observes the plan isn't working and goes on to talk to David and Sam about it. She tells Lucy David means well and that's the reason he's there. She tells David to loosen up a little and trust that Lucy has him. She steps aside to watch them while they go on. Josh realizes David still misses it. He goes to David and excuses him for a moment. He goes on to teach David how to make a few dancing steps. David learns it and is excited about it. Josh takes Sam's hands and dances with her, showing David and Lucy how it's done. Sam is not eased by Josh's dancing skills. David is enjoying himself dancing with Lucy already. Sam praises him and his efforts so far. Back at David's and Lucy's farm. It's been days since their dance at the park. David and Lucy share their findings about themselves. Lucy starts by saying they got better in cooperating and depending on themselves. David says they figured out that when he feels pressured he tends to draw back. Lucy cuts in and says she figured out that's the time she finds fault. They agree pointing out the issues is the first step to achieving the desired result. Lucy hints she enjoyed herself dancing with David. She also admits she enjoyed it more after David found his rhythm. Sam asks David if he's willing to go on more dances with Lucy. David reaches out to his pocket and brings out a piece of paper he intends to read from. Before reading from the paper, he reveals he wasn't too comfortable with strangers poking into their marriage. Squinting at the paper to read from it, Josh subtly collects the piece of paper from him. Josh asks him to allow whatever he has to say to flow from within. Sam is very impressed with Josh. David begins by reassuring Lucy of his never-dying love for her. He says since the day he fainted in her arms back in school, he's never stopped loving her. He assures Lucy that anything that suggests him taking their love for granted ends immediately. He says he's grateful she's in his life. As a show of love and commitment, he hands over a ticket to tango lessons in Argentina. The couple are emotional and hug tightly. They agree they aren't letting themselves go. Sam and Josh are happy for them. Sam and Josh are walking back after a successful day on the field. They relish the impact their project made on David and Lucy. Josh says Lucy was only applying the needed pressure on David. Sam says she can't wait to get this episode to Marie already. Josh mentions he's starting work on the production the same evening. Sam suggests she'd like to be there when Josh starts making the edits on the podcast. Sam goes over to Josh's apartment with 2 cups of coffee. Sam speaks about the bikes hanging on Josh's wall. Josh asks if she rides with her, replying she no longer rides. Josh wonders if Sam ever does anything for fun. Sam affirms. They proceed editing the podcast. Sam and Brett are jogging on their usual route when Sam suggests they try a particular route. Brett states his displeasure with that route. Sam tries to stir Brett so they do something different. Brett isn't comfortable and feels Sam is being different. Sam feels she's the one challenging her couples to try new stuff, hence her interest in wanting to do the same. Brett reckons that path is for those having problems in their relationships. Sam affirms half-heartedly. Sam still inquires if Brett doesn't just want to do things for fun. She asks, as an example, where Brett would love to visit. Brett replies anywhere she wants to visit is where he loves to visit. Sam is underwhelmed by Brett's assertions. Brett feels the idea of traveling should come at a much later time as they have work to do. Sam inquires if Brett has certain things he hasn't shared with her. Brett says no. They continue jogging. The next couple for Sam's project are due to come in. Carlo's Cafe is the spot for this meeting. Sam, Josh, and Carlos are setting up the space for the next couple, Ray and Violetta. They come in excited and Carlos states the kind of drink he's sure they'd prefer. He never misses. Ray and Violetta sit and start off with their incredible journey as a couple. Jane mentions Ray was the only man who could match her. Sam inquires how they got to the point of considering a breakup in their relationship. Violetta says Ray started spying on him. Ray counters and says he did that only because Violetta was going to cheat on him. Josh feels too much energy from them and suggests a coffee break. Violetta says they shouldn't bother. She asks them to go on. She further states they are already used to podcasts and can handle the situation. Josh acts weird and excuses himself. Sam excuses herself as well and goes after Josh. Josh feels it's game over for Ray as he strongly believes Violetta is just playing Ray. Sam advises he comports himself and be a professional, keeping his opinions to himself. Sam repeatedly shrugs off Josh's concern till Josh abruptly goes back. Violetta tries to exonerate herself from Ray's accusations. She makes light of things such as her constant date cancellation and her flirting with other men. Ray thinks she can't make light of such situations. They ask Josh for his opinion. Josh, feeling apathetic, states he is not to have an opinion on the podcast. Ray and Violetta have a back and forth. They end up agreeing their biggest issue is trust. Sam suggests it's best they work on gaining each other's trust again. They suggest some fun activities like the Woodland Orantarium. Violetta reveals Ray's second biggest fear is getting beaten by her. Sam suggests this shouldn't be about competition but companionship. The couple doesn't see the fun in that. Josh suggests he and Sam could compete against them if they want that. Ray and Violetta are excited about the idea. It's race day between the couple and Sam and Josh. Josh helps Sam lace her shoe. Sam apologizes for making Josh think his opinions don't matter. Ray and Lucy meet them at the spot and they begin. The two teams catch up on themselves respectively. Team Sam and Josh get to the finish line. Happy that they won, Ray and Violetta come out from a corner saying they got there earlier. The couple seem to be finding their spark again. A new scene starts with Ray and Violetta telling Sam and Josh about the progress they've made so far. They commend Sam's advice to them. The couple reckons the incident at the cafe helped them too. They commit to building trust between themselves. At the office, Marie listens to the podcast. She's a little bit impressed but feels like the podcast doesn't have more action like she prefers. Marie reveals the CEO is visiting the company soon, and there's a back and forth between Sam and Josh, suggesting they both try to prove themselves to Marie. Sam repeatedly reminds Josh it's her show. Marie thinks the drama they always get in is the kind needed for the podcast, and they should save it for then. Sam goes to Josh's apartment for a truce. She finds Josh repairing his bicycle and helps him out. Josh is impressed. Sam maintains her dad taught her these things. Josh plays the edited version of Ray and Violetta's episode. Sam and Josh are sitting in a walkway with Sam talking. Josh seems lost in thoughts when Sam calls his attention. Josh reveals he received an email from his ex who left him for an investment banker. The ex wants a comeback, but Josh doesn't know exactly what he wants at the moment. He inquires about her relationship with Brett. He wonders how it feels to be in a meticulous relationship. Sam says it's best to be in such relationships as it avoids unnecessary drama. Josh insinuates Sam isn't spontaneous. She opposes that. Sam tries to prove she's spontaneous by going on bike ride with Josh. The two spend a lot of time catching up. They park their bicycles at a corner and take a seat. The seat offers an exhilarating view of the large expanse of water. Josh reveals he loves the spot. He discloses he moved to the city after he broke up with his ex. Sam asks if he will respond to his ex. He reiterates he doesn't know. They leave the scene with Sam commending Josh for his podcast edits. Sam and Brett are having dinner at Carlos's cafe. Carlos comes to say hi and infers Brett is a second fiddle in Sam's life. Brett takes cognizance of it but Sam brushes it off. They both catch up on their respective jobs. Brett advises Sam to remain focused and avoid Josh's influence. He mentions Josh's influence will create a deviation. Sam suggests her moving in with Brett happens in the coming week. Sam and Josh are at a park surrounded with flowers when their next couple, Jane and Ted, walk up to them. They exchange pleasantries and opt to begin the interview. Josh offers to help Sam fix the microphone on her shirt. He holds back to avoid touching Sam inappropriately. Sam understands, smiles, and offers to do Jane's. Ted and Jane seem not to have issues that should warrant a potential breakup. They keep eulogizing each other, which makes Sam ponder something. Sam then suggests a game for them that will help them bond better. She hands over a sheet to Jane and tells her to study it for when they meet next. Josh cuts in, to Sam's surprise, and tells them they have 45 minutes to prep. Sam mentions spontaneous approach to matters like this to the couple. Jane is seen guiding the blindfolded Ted along a path to retrieve a flower vase as the prize. Josh hails their teamwork after the case is retrieved. Sam insinuates everyone needs the right person to lead them. Sam and Josh participate in the game with Josh guiding Sam to retrieve a dummy chicken. The game continues with Ted guiding Jane but Jane gives up midway. Sam encourages her willingness to try. She blurts out to Josh her hopes of making Ted and Jane's relationship work. Josh says he's sure Sam would make it work. Days later, Sam and Josh are seated with Ted and Jane. Sam hopes to hear a positive report concerning their efforts in making the relationship work. Ted says he isn't ready for the kind of commitment Jane needs. Josh suggests he gives it time but Jane cuts in. She feels they won't work even with time. Their decision is to part ways. Josh doesn't get why and how they've made that decision. He shows frustrations. Sam cautions Josh to respect their decision. Josh still doesn't get why Ted would allow a breakup. He thinks their relationship was perfect. Sam has mixed feelings about the situation and is also concerned about what Marie thinks. They decide to get a meal. Sam would rather not cook as she feels it doesn't always turn out fine. Sam and Josh end up at Sam's house with Josh adorning an apron to exhibit his cooking skills. They catch up on their meal preferences while eating Josh's delicacy. Done eating, they playfully throw some couch pillows around. Josh admires Sam and Brett's picture frame. Josh suggests they work on the podcast immediately and review it by the weekend. Sam hopes they can do the review much later as she's moving in with Brett over the weekend. Josh, hearing this, manages his expression perfectly. Sam and Josh step out. Sam mentions she has no memory of Ted talking about loving Jane. Josh explains that was the missing piece, as Ted could have tried harder. The discussion changes. Josh tries to make light of his visions, with Sam lightly opposing. Josh reveals he is visionary and lines up his plans. Sam asks about him finding someone amidst pursuing his dreams. He believes he probably has a point to make before talking about finding someone. Brett is at Sam's house helping her pack her stuff. A call comes in from a client who wishes to get into coaching. Sam had agreed to meet with the client prior. Brett is irked with this new development. He argues they were in agreement to avoid work that weekend. Sam, feeling slight regret, tells Brett she could cancel her meeting with the client. Brett disagrees, asks her to go on with her meeting, but reiterates the need for straightforwardness. He then asks Sam if she has her reservations about their relationship. Sam expresses her displeasure on how mundane their relationship is. She expects some level of spontaneity. Brett tries to create an excuse for them but immediately agrees with Sam's point of view. He gives Sam the go-ahead to meet her client. Sam meets with her new client, Vanessa, at Carlo's cafe. While getting acquainted, Sam finds out Vanessa is Josh's ex. Vanessa says she feels bad about it. Vanessa regrets the way she went with the breakup with Josh. Vanessa states that Josh's recklessness and tendency to be slightly irresponsible was the reason she made her decision. She also states his dreams were too big for someone who has such flaws. Sam concurs to Vanessa's assertions as if she has no other option. She feels awkward about Josh's ex meeting up with her and she begs to take her leave. She continues packing her things back at her apartment when she receives a message on her computer. Josh sends her pictures of them from the interviews. She looks at the picture Josh sent and goes on to look at the framed picture of her and Brett, as if just supposing which looks better. She stands up and heads over to the cafe. She meets up with Carlos and lets her frustration out. Carlos thinks meeting Vanessa was rattling for Sam. She feels she contributed to Vanessa's breakup with Josh. She feels she misguided Vanessa. She's concerned and doesn't want Josh to get wounded again. Carlos feels Sam's concerns goes beyond her not wanting Josh hurt again. Sam is at Josh's house to fix things, just as she told Carlos. Vanessa and Josh are making a meal together to her astonishment. Josh, requesting Vanessa to excuse them, tells Sam about the meetup she and Vanessa had. He is disappointed in Sam for nurturing the idea that he is irresponsible and not ready to commit to anything. He wishes Sam well and goes back inside, leaving Sam at the door. Sam is well-dressed, prepared for her date with Brett, who knocks at the door. They both have different ideas for their date. Brett wants a picnic but Sam wants to go to the opera. Brett is confused as to why they'd want to do something different like going to the opera. There's a mild back and forth with Brett reminding Sam his frustrations with surprises. They're at a park having a picnic with a small sound system device playing opera songs. In no time, Brett whips out a ring and proposes to Sam. Expressing her surprise and unpreparedness, she kindly declines his proposal. Brett realizes and mentions Sam isn't in love with him. Brett reminds Sam their relationship went downhill started from the moment Josh entered her life. Brett further mentions he has his doubts too and the proposal is a test. This vexes Sam, who gets up and leaves. Sam receives the edited trial episode from Josh. She listens to the podcast while jogging. She gets home and receives a call from Marie telling her the podcast has been approved, along with 2 others, that might air at a launch party the company is organizing. She tells her to contain her excitement as only one show would air and they've not concluded on which one yet. She tries texting Josh but isn't sure about his response. Brett returns some of Sam's stuff already moved to his place. Sam urges Brett to stay for coffee but Brett turns it down, stating he has to catch up with someone. Sam shared the good news with Brett. Brett is excited for Sam and takes his leave. Sam is at Carlo's cafe when Vanessa meets her up. Vanessa is telling her how she and Josh now get along perfectly. Sam's expression suggests to Vanessa that Josh means a lot to Sam. She concurs. Sam hands over the cups of coffee she got for herself and Josh to Vanessa, asking her to give it to Josh. While Vanessa turns to leave, Sam urges Vanessa to refrain from breaking his heart again, further asking if she cares for him as much as she does. Vanessa does. Sam tries to get a spot at a rocky spiked tour via call. She relishes the idea of riding a bicycle in that setting. It's the launch party. Guests and workers are at the venue. Marie welcomes Sam and Josh to the podium. They are to show the kind of chemistry they think their show, Love Hacks, portrays. This might enable them to take the spot. Sam and Josh step out. Josh starts by saying the show belongs to the couples on the show and, very importantly, Sam. He goes on to say Sam invested everything she had on the show. He folds his hands, stretches it to Sam and reveals it to Sam with the word of affirmation. Sam starts by stating her fears at the beginning of the project and her skepticism working with Josh. She goes further to state how the show changed her and availed her the opportunity to work with an amazing person in Josh. Josh jokingly replies with how amazing he thinks she is too. Marie comes up on stage and takes over the podium. The audience claps. Sam, feeling indifferent, walks to the back of the hall with Josh following her. Sam is in her feelings and tells Josh they can't work together. Sam reveals he and Vanessa are together and Vanessa was just selfish. Josh reveals he is in love with Sam. Sam is elated as that is exactly what she hoped for. She blurts out she has a flight to catch in 2 hours. Sam reminds her of his promise to go with her. Sam brings her close to himself and plants a kiss on her lips. They smile at each other and run to catch the flight.